Back to the book. We hit the trail at 5 o'clock sharp that second morning. These guys are up pretty early. Probably had to get up like, I don't know, 4:30 to get
before the
to get on the road before 5 o'clock. Around noon, we began past signs of big Indian camps. As I remember, we made around 33 miles that day. The next day, we rode hard too. There was no foolishness. Custer had a bunch of Ree and Crow scouts ahead with him, and he kept them covering the ground far off both flanks of the column. We were in Indian country now, right enough. So that's very common. We'd still do that today. You have a main element moving in a formation, and out on the flanks, maybe some high ground, you have other smaller elements that can protect your flanks and see if there's any problems up ahead. In one place we halted, there had been a Sundance Lodge. The scalp of a white man was still hanging from the ridge pole. Getting into Indian country. It was around 8 o'clock when we got orders to saddle up. We marched about 10 miles when we were halted in a sort of ravine. We'd been told to make as little noise as possible and light no fires. There'd been no bugle calls for a day or two. The sun was at our back, so apparently we were headed straight west now toward the Little Bighorn. I later learned that the Indians called it greasy grass. I never did know why. About the time General Custer came back from his scout, word went around that the Indians had found a box of hardtack that had dropped from one of Captain Yates's mules. 2 or 3 troopers who had been sent back to pick up the box had reported seeing 2 hostiles trying to open it with their tomahawks. This meant that the Indians had us under observation. Apparently, Custer had figured on hiding the command in the ravine during the day and then attacking the big Indian village on the Little Bighorn at daybreak the next morning. So they know that the Indians know that they're there, is why I included that. And you're going to hear that kind of over and over again. Custer's thinking they're going to surprise him, and everyone's telling him, we're not going to surprise them. They know we're here. It was Sunday morning, June 25th. We were still more than 12 miles from the Little Horn and the Indian village, but the Indians knew where we were and all about us.